Uche, the first question I'm going to ask you is
Okay.
why did you skip the reunion?
Yeah, unfortunately, it was a scheduling conflict. I had a really good business opportunity, and I just couldn't pass that up to go to the reunion, unfortunately.
Got you. So this wasn't because you were done with the show, done with the cast. It was simply just a scheduling conflict.
Yeah, it was a scheduling conflict. I had to actually go to Mexico for this business partnership that I just closed, and they wanted to introduce me to the top 200 affiliate marketers in the country. So I'm thinking, hey, this has the potential to double the revenue for my company here, and I couldn't pass that up. But I will say, as far as the reunion and as far as that environment, I really don't think that is a conducive environment to have productive discussions. And even watching the reunion back and seeing the clips, that they chose to play, that were me arguing with people and not playing the clips of, Lydia bullying Aaliyah or anything like that, and how they chose to edit everything and how the host of the show are choosing to ask certain questions. I don't think it would have been very productive. So I really don't have any regrets about not going. And I think my business and my professional life, I put that first over recording a TV show.
Watching the whole show back, including the reunion, do you feel like you were accurately portrayed?
I don't feel like I was accurately portrayed. And I think the editing has a lot to do with that. In conversations, I definitely understand how my tone comes across. And it's been a lifelong goal for me. Trust me, I get it. I get it from my mom. We're both very opinionated, very hard headed. So I understand how that comes across. But editing can heighten that too. For example, if I'm having a conversation and a back and forth with somebody and you edit out every time they respond, it makes it seem like I'm just talking on and on and on. So things like that and things like not developing my character and showing all of these nice and happy moments between me and Aaliyah and how we actually fell in love and things that I'm talking about my past and my culture and my family, things that make me relatable as a person, and you just focus on the drama, it's going to drive a certain narrative. And I don't think that that narrative, that character is who I am in real life.
One thing that Nick and Vanessa did mention is that never in the history of the show did two people who have known each other in real life sign up and actually get casted. So, can you clear up some confusion for us? Because originally it seemed like this was mere coincidence.
Mm-hmm.
Then I will say that during the reunion, Lydia said, "Oh, we might have briefly in passing mentioned that there were auditions in Houston." Do you still think that she signed up for the show because she knew you were going to be on it?
I believe that she signed up for the show because she knew I was going to be there. And that's the message that I got from several of the other castmates that confronted her about it. She said that she saw I was following a casting producer on Instagram. She clicked over to that Instagram account. She saw casting for Love is Blind. And that's when she applied. She blocked my Instagram account so they wouldn't know that we knew each other. And that's how it came about. And that was my belief then. That's my belief now. Whether or not the producers knew about it at any point in time, that's the only thing that I'm unclear about at this point in time.
Something else that I was confused about is you guys were very positive. Immediately when you did tell the other cast members that you knew each other, you had nothing but glowing things to say about each other. So, what happened, in your opinion, that shifted the relationship?
Yeah, after, my history with Lydia, I did want to move forward with a tone of positivity. She even explains it in the show. She said, "Hey, when Uche met me, I was in a bad place. I didn't have any friends at the time. I was going through a tough period." So when I got to the show, I was remembering all of that in my head, and I was thinking, okay, she's in a better place now. I don't want to bring up anything negative from when she was in that bad period because number one, I didn't want anybody to judge her. There are 14 other girls there. She can make so many friends. And if I start saying negative things about her, that's going to impact those friendships. Number two, what if any of the guys hear about any of the things that I'm saying? That's going to impact her chance at potentially finding love with somebody else. And then number three, I think speaking negatively about somebody that you've dated just is a bad look for you. So me saying that to Aaliyah, she's going to think, oh, well, he's talking negatively about Lydia. He just talks negatively about women in general. And at that point in time, I honestly thought that she loved Lydia more than she loved me, so I didn't want to compete with that. So I wanted to be very positive. But then when I left the show and I found out things that people were saying, like, oh, yeah, she followed you to the show and she was speaking so negatively about you behind the scenes and all of this other stuff, then I was like, okay, she hasn't moved past that negative point that she was at. And that's when it kind of flipped for me, and I wanted to be honest about everything that we had gone through.
When you did confront her with the receipts, which I do want to talk about the receipts in a little bit,
Sure.
in that scene, it seemed like she also kind of dropped a bombshell where she said, or at least it seemed like she was accusing you of cheating on her. Did you cheat on her?
What's very interesting is she never said that I cheated on her. She said that in an interview, but she didn't say that to my face when we were speaking because she knows that's not true. We were never in a relationship. We dated from mid-November to mid-October of 2020, and then we didn't see each other for 7 months after that. And 3 months into that 7 month period, that's when I started getting those messages from girls saying that she was stalking their Instagram accounts. So the next time we saw each other was summer of 2021, June or July. And it initially started out very platonic. Hey, just catching up. She said, hey, I'm in a much better place in my life right now. I have some new friends. Things are going on. We should become friends again. So started off talking platonically. I was even talking to her about girls that I'm dating. She was talking to me about guys that she was dating. And then from mid-July, mid 2021, June or July to January of the next year, we maybe saw each other 4 times or so. So it wasn't a relationship. There wasn't any cheating going on at all. I think she was more of bringing that up as a way to divert attention from the things that I was saying and revealing about her.
When you went to the barbecue, was your intention to warn Milton and split them up? Was your intention just to clear the air and share your side? What was it that you were trying to accomplish?
I was trying to hold her accountable for what she had done. And the whole receipts and talking about Instagram, I was trying to set the baseline to then talk about, hey, all of these other girls said you use that same method going through my Instagram to find out that I was on the show. And because of that, you bullied Aaliyah and put her through all of this mess, and she didn't deserve that. So I was trying to build into that discussion, and I think her defense mechanism was running away from that. I actually had no intention of talking to Milton. That was the producer's idea. Before we went to the barbecue, they were telling me, hey, you need to have this discussion with Lydia. And then, well, Lydia's engaged to Milton. You can't just have a discussion with her. You need to have a discussion with him as well. So that was kind of planned out by production. I never intended to, speak with him or split them up or anything like that. I mean, he's a grown man. He can make his own decisions. But I did think that going to him and telling him that and giving him that information for him to be able to have that side, if we were ever to be friends in the future, I think I would be a very bad friend if I didn't at least reveal that we had that history, because I never talked to him about that in the pods.
I want to know what was going through your head during that conversation when he said 1+1 = 2, 2+2 = 4, the square root of 64 is 8. Like I saw where he was going, but I also was like, okay, this is an interesting analogy. What was going through your mind when he was saying all that?
Yeah, it was strange because I think he uses, science and mathematics as a way to divert from his true emotions and how he feels. Like he was mentioning that uh, I'm on an x-axis, Lydia's on a y-axis, and he's on a z-axis. And I think that made sense to him in his head. But, I think if we're all on a different axis, that means we're all heading in separate directions. And shouldn't you and Lydia be on the same axis,
Were you just like,
mathematically?
were you just like,
you know,
okay?
that didn't make any sense to me. But I will say this. Um, I wasn't the only person with a past that was affecting my relationship on the show. I mean, Milton even mentioned at the barbecue, hey, Lydia and I both discussed our past already. And I think a lot of what Milton was saying and doing was out of fear that his off screen drama that he was going through with Lydia was going to be exposed on screen, like mine was. So I definitely understand him wanting to divert attention away from that, and that's what drove a lot of his actions there.
What are these skeletons that you're talking about? What is the
With that, it's not, I don't think it's really my story to tell, and I think that they're past all of that now, so I do want to allow them to leave that in the past and, you know, move forward from that. um I just don't appreciate when somebody, you know, lies about me. I understand defending, you know, your wife, that's perfectly fine, but I just don't want to be dragged into it. I don't want any lies told about me. And whatever their business was then, whatever their business is now, that can stay private between them.
I do want to talk about though your story on the show. You and Aaliyah had a connection in the pods. She said during the reunion that you briefly dated after, because she did leave and we saw that whole thing play out. She says that you, and I believe you confirmed this too, that you guys briefly dated after the pods. But then she says she didn't get the pods Uche, she got barbecue Uche. What is your reaction to that? And what do you think she meant?
I think what she's doing right now is she is trying to deal with her own guilt from the situation, our relationship, and what happened there. And we see her do this a lot where something happens in a relationship or she does a certain action and she tries to justify it instead of explaining what she actually did wrong. And this stems from when she left the show. What's not shown from her leaving is that the day before the engagements were supposed to happen, she came in and we promised each other that we were going to show up for each other the next day and we were going to make the decision. Hey, do we want to get engaged or do we just want to go back to Houston and keep dating there? I told her I would even leave with her if she wanted to. So,
Just to clarify before you move on, so there was
sure.
a chance, and I don't know, are you saying like even with producers involved that you guys could have gotten engaged and continued on to Mexico?
Yes, we could have gotten engaged and continued on to Mexico, but what I also told her is I don't care about going to Mexico. If you want to leave, I will leave with you. Let's just make that decision together. And then 6 hours after she made me that promise, she left. So the first promise that she's ever made to me in our relationship, she broke it. And the scene when we met up for lunch, that was, people don't know, that was 2.5 weeks after she had left. And in that 2.5 week period, she, I believe, invalidated my feelings by just telling me how bad Lydia was and how bad of a situation it was, which I understood. But I was trying to get her to understand, hey, I understand how difficult that was with Lydia, but can you consider my feelings too, of that you promised me that you would show up? And I even said that I would leave with you, and you broke that promise to me. So
Yeah.
we went
Go
to
ahead.
lunch and I forgave her about that. And then the next day after that, she told me, I don't regret leaving and I did it for you. And I said, what do you mean that you left? You did it for me. And she said that if she did not leave the show right when she did, she was scared of what she was going to do to Lydia. And when she made that comment, it scared me a little bit because I'm, you know, a very sticks and stones type person. So I started asking her more questions to figure out what she meant by that and what that meant for her and Lydia in that situation. And also what that meant in the future of her being able to deal with stressful situations or what our relationship would be like in the future of dealing with stressful situations. And I think at that point in time, she just got very angry with me. She got upset with me. She blew up at me. And that set the tone for our relationship going forward. I started feeling like I had to walk on eggshells because one day it'll be good and we'd be interacting and we'd be happy and we'd be smiling and laughing. And then the next day we would be arguing again and we would go through that whole period back and forth. And while we were going through that period of this miscommunication and turmoil of our relationship, she told me that she had got a job offer in California and she was going to potentially be moving across the country. And we knew at that point in time, our communication wasn't at the point where we would want to do long distance or we would survive long distance. But she made it seem to me that I had to tell her to turn down that job offer and stay in Houston if I wanted our relationship to work, or if I really loved her, or if I really wanted to be with her. And I didn't want to do that. I said, if I tell you to turn down this job, the highest paid job that you've ever received, and you stay in Houston and it doesn't work out, I feel like you're going to resent me. And that's how our relationship ended. And I don't think that she's able to deal with the guilt of that situation. And she even told me in a text message, one of the last text messages she's ever sent me before the show aired. And she said, I feel like this is all my fault. I wish I wouldn't have left. And sometimes I seriously can't stop myself from crying because I think I messed up a chance at true love with my soulmate. And that guilt, she needs to put that off on somebody else. And that explains what she's doing right now.
She mentioned in the reunion that once you saw her, you went around telling people that she wasn't your type and that you told other cast members and that you repeatedly stated that. When you saw her, did you think she wasn't your type?
No, when I saw her, I thought she was beautiful, honestly. So the first thing is I knew what she was going to look like before I even saw her, or I had an idea of what she was going to look like. What we don't see, because, the producers wanted to focus on the drama, is our discussion in the pods leading up to it. For example, I went in there the first day of the dates in the pods. And because my name is Uche, people already start to have a conception of what I look like. So to put us all on an even playing ground, I went in there the first day and I asked everybody their race and their ethnicity. And I explained to Aaliyah, hey, most of my relationships have been with Black women, but I've dated outside of my race before. And I wanted to make sure the person that I'm dating is okay and comfortable dating somebody that looks like me. And that conversation and that openness led us to telling the other person what we look like. She told me her skin tone, her height, what her hair looks like, what her body looks like. I told her the same thing about me. We discussed, hey, what type of guys do you usually date? And she asked me, hey, what type of girls do you usually date? We talked about that. And then we talked about, hey, what's going to happen if we see each other and one of us is not attracted to the other? And we said, it doesn't matter whether we find the other person attractive. What matters is that we built this bond in the pods and that we've fallen in love based on what's on the inside. And that is what really counts. And we are going to pursue the relationship no matter what. So we didn't have that red carpet reveal, like we would have wanted. The first time I saw her was on social media. And when I saw her photos, I thought, she's an attractive girl, but I was not attracted to her until I actually saw her in person. So, yes.
What was the difference? What stood out to you?
It's just hard to get an impression of somebody just from their photos versus seeing somebody actually physically in person. Those are two different things. For example, for me, people will see me in person and they'll say, hey, I find you much more attractive than you are in photos. I think seeing somebody in person and hearing their voice and, seeing them in motion and being able to actually touch them and experience them in real life is different from just seeing somebody's social media photos. So yes, I had a private discussion with one of the castmates and I said, yeah, my initial impression was probably not my type, but I still love her and I still want to pursue a relationship with her. And I saw her in person and I was immediately attracted to her. So I don't know why she's trying to make that an excuse. Like I didn't put everything that I had into that relationship. And she's trying to deflect any guilt or any responsibility for our relationship not working out by saying that.
Lydia and Aaliyah said that they received text messages from you after like the show was released. And they actually had a moment where they were kind of making it seem like they received a copy and paste text message.
Mhm.
Is that true? Did you send the same text message to both women?
Yeah, I did send the same text message to both of them. But I guess I don't understand why that was a big deal. I didn't send, it wasn't a love letter. It wasn't an apology note. It wasn't anything personalized at all. What I knew that we were in this very weird triangle situation. So the message just said, hey, if you watch the show and there's anything that you want to talk about, I'm available to talk. That's what the text said. If I would have reworded it, would it have made it? I don't understand. I just told them I'm available to talk. So it was the same message. I don't understand what was wrong with that, honestly.
I believe you said it was at the barbecue when you said it would be a mistake if Milton went and married Lydia.
Yes.
Do you still believe, now that they did get married, that it is a mistake?
You know, me personally, I do think that they are very similar in terms of their outlook on life, and they do have a few things in common. So I don't think it was necessarily a mistake that they got married. I think, time will tell. And I do hope that they're happy. I wish them good luck in their relationship. But at that point in time, that is how I felt, is that he would be making a mistake if he were to marry her. Because I didn't think that he was at that point, where he was ready for marriage. And I do think that there were certain things that Lydia was still holding on to that would have caused conflict in their relationship as well.
And my last question is, you say you don't have any regrets, but if you had the chance to go back, would you do reality TV again?
Oh, that's a tough one. I think I would do it again. Honestly, I do regret the outcome of it. And if I could change the outcome, I definitely, would have changed the outcome. And if I could change certain things that I did, certain things that I said, certain ways that I behaved, I would have changed that. But I don't regret going on the show in the first place. And I would do that again. It's for the experience and for all the things that I learned. I think 10 years from now I'm going to look back and I'm going to have a really funny a really funny and interesting story to tell.
Does the group chat still exist? And are you in contact? I think you said you and Chris are still friends. Are you in contact with any of the other cast members?
Yeah, I'm in contact with a lot of the other cast members, Chris and JP and Jared and Ernesto and Justice and Josh, and a lot of the guys from the show I still keep in contact with. The group chat has been dormant for a while. I think we had a little spike in activity in the group chat right when the show came around. But it's been a little bit quiet since then, and we kind of hang out in separate groups at this point in time. But still friends with a lot of the guys from the show.
Any of the women?
Yeah, yeah. A handful of the women too that I'm still friends with and I still keep up with as well.
Are you like Izzy? Are you dating any of the other cast members?
Not dating any of the other cast members, but I do have a girlfriend.
Okay. That's what just wanted to finish it off on. So you are in a relationship. Has it been long?
Yeah, we've been dating since May of this year, so it's been a few months now, and it's really going well. We have a lot in common. We have fun together, and I like that we're very easily able to communicate our feelings to each other. I feel like her emotional intelligence is even much higher than mine, so I feel like I'm becoming a better communicator and I'm better at expressing myself and my feelings by being with her. And yeah, I just think it's a wonderful thing that I found, and I'm extremely excited with where I'm at right now in my relationship.